Hey guys, this is Kenny from LearnHowToProsper.com, and this last week I shared a blog post called Overcoming Challenges. This is something that I think all of us face, right? And whether in my own life or working with clients and others that I've worked with in the past, this has always been, I think, one of those things that can really define us, right? I love this quote by Stephen Covey. Just as we develop our physical muscles through overcoming opposition, such as lifting weights, we develop our character muscles by overcoming challenges and adversity. It's very true. Without that kind of resistance, we just don't grow. Now, I've got 4 steps here I'm going to cover, and step number 1 when it comes to overcoming a challenge is to accept it. That's the first thing, because we can waste so much time and energy just wondering, oh, why did this happen to me? It's just not fair. Why? This isn't happening to other people. Why did this happen to me? So we can waste a lot of energy and time, and sometimes people don't get out of that phase. You can stay in that phase for years. And so you can really accelerate things by just accepting it. It's an imperfect world where things are not fair, things happen, and you could try to unravel that for years sometimes, and at the end of it still make no sense of why certain things happen the way that they do, just that it's an imperfect world. However, I think that you can apply meaning to anything, and it might just be worth thinking about what potential benefit could come from any challenge or opposition that comes into our life, right? That's what Stephen Covey's tackling here. He says, we develop our character muscles by overcoming challenges and adversity. Certainly seen that to be the case. Now, step number 2, and I'll just come down here, is to tackle it immediately. So after you've accepted it, just jump in. Don't give it more power, and apply your energy directly to the challenge. Overpower it, charge it, leave it begging for mercy. I think that's absolutely critical. And it really, there's a momentum factor to it, right? Like the quicker you jump into it, the not only the sooner do you overcome the challenge, but it makes the challenge seem smaller, right? That's for certain. It just gets smaller and smaller the quicker you jump into it. The other thing too, and you've probably seen this, when I was a teenager, we used to work in the potato fields up in Idaho, and one of the things that we loved to do was to go to this bridge that was over the Snake River, and there was it was up off the water probably, good 15, 20 feet, and you could stand there on the ledge looking down at the water, and the longer that you stood there, the more the fear and paralysis would come and settle in. So I found that it was just so much better to just stand up there, take one deep breath, and plunge right in. And that's true with so many things, the challenges and that come into our lives. The other thing that we can do is be proactive. Now, you don't have to wait until challenges come. Oftentimes, I've seen that in my own life and others that people aren't really paying attention to the signs, and they're living a little bit in crisis mode. And when you live in crisis mode perpetually or chronically, at some point these things are going to come to roost, right? The old chickens are going to come in to roost and lay an egg or two, right? So that's one thing that can be immensely powerful, is looking ahead, noting the things that are being neglected in your life. Most often these are things like relationships, finances, and health. It's so easy to just take those things for granted, and then one day the challenges present itself, and we're in a much compromised position. The final step is to be grateful. Yep, every challenge has within it the seeds of growth and character, just like we mentioned. Now, there's a person that let's see if I've got it here, that I wanted to share, just as I cap off here. Yeah, let me do this here. Yeah, maybe you've heard of Nick. Yeah, Vujicic. Now, I'll include a link to this. I'm just going to include just a couple of thoughts here from Nick. And one of the things that is so inspiring to me about Nick is the fact that he was born without arms and legs, and it hasn't become a hindrance for him at all. In fact, he's turned it into a powerful blessing in his life, and he's going to share just a couple of thoughts on that here for us.
For me, I was looking for hope and happiness, and I couldn't see it for many years. In fact, if this side of the table represents my hope, truth encourages me to become all that I can be. But then we have lies every day coming in our mind, people who discourage us. You know, the people that you have in your life who, no matter how good of a day you're having, they'll bring you down. Or no matter how bad of a day you're having, they'll bring you even lower. You know what I'm talking about? Think of the 3 biggest discouragers in your life. They're not your biggest discouragers. You are. You are. It only takes 3 seconds for me to tell you something discouraging, but then you may never forget my words. I've met so many 50-year-old women and 40-year-old women who still remember what their fathers told them that they wish they never heard. Words are powerful. When you hear those words and then your mind starts growing with these lies, Nick, you're not good enough. Nick, just give up. Nick, you're never going to get a job. You won't get married. You can't even hold your wife's hand. What kind of a father are you going to be if you can't even pick up your kids when they're crying? You're alone. Sure, your parents hug you, but their hugs can't heal you. Just give up. Just give up. Just give up. Just.
Yeah. It's so interesting what he says, and you can access this entire TED Talk at the link in the description box on the YouTube video where you watch this. But what's fascinating about Nick is that it's all about the mindset, right? When you look at a challenge, for some people, what might appear as a challenge to one person may not be a challenge at all for the other because of their mindset, the way that you position it, the way that you tackle it, the way that you approach it in your life. So I hope that if as you encounter any challenges over the next week or two, that you'll think a little bit about Nick, that you'll think a little bit about these 4 steps, that you'll accept it, that you will tackle it immediately, that you'll be proactive, and that you'll be grateful. And with that, I'm signing off saying, make it a blessed day. Bye.